Everyone. So today I want to talk to you about what children should learn between the ages of 0 and 3, and people will say birth to 3. So I want to appeal to you that you should exercise patience and watch to the end. Interestingly, there is no particular thing or clearly stated thing in certain situations on what children should learn. However, there are different circumstances that will determine what children are going to learn. Number one, family values. Some parents would not let their children to go to school until they clock 2 or 3. For them, they want to initiate remarkable relationship, help children to develop amazing communication skills, and form attachment with them, be able to know them and understand their environment. For them, it's not a problem because perhaps it will even be as a result of wanting to breastfeed a child to a particular age or just wanting to have that values based on the trend of their family. And you have to respect that. Number two is going to be the child himself or herself. In a case where the child has special needs, at least you need to understand the challenge, the disorder that is affecting the child at a particular period in time. So instead of having to enroll the child to school, you might have to be looking forward to doing different therapy, medical engagement, appointment, in looking for a way to even help the child to survive before you even want to do academic engagement. That's number two. Number three is going to be government policies. In some countries, say for example in England, a child cannot start school till 3 years. For example, again, in Michigan, which is the United States, a child cannot start preschool that is government funded till the age of 4. So some parents cannot even afford to send their children to like private nursery schools. So of course, there are private nursery schools that you can send your children to, and there are also daycare centers. So you also need to understand that government policy. And the last one I'm going to mention is as a result of daycare or the nature of the work of parents. For example, a single parent household where a parent has to survive, that parent cannot even afford to leave the child at home, or a woman or a man has to resume their work as early as possible. Some of them would even have to look for a center to enroll their children as early as 6 weeks because of the nature of their family and because of economic situation. In that event, they will have to enroll their children in daycare centers. Now, daycare center is just a place where you have to put your child for them to be able to ensure or help them to survive. However, there are places where they will tell you bring your child in playgroup or pre-nursery. But irrespective, in Nigeria, I know of some schools whereby the parents will set a benchmark for their children to learn 1 to 1,000 at the age of 3. As a matter of fact, I had a parent who talked to me that she's not happy because our own friend, the child could even write 1 to 1,000. This is not a good news, it's a bad news. Between birth and 3, the 4 things children should be able to learn is number one, form remarkable attachment. Let them be able to find their parent or people around them as a secure base for them to know that whatever they want, there are people who are listening to them. That's number one. Number two, remarkable communication. Perhaps your local language or even the language you want your child to learn, language of the environment, is very important because children who are able to communicate their needs are going to do tremendously when they get to school. That's another thing. Number three is self-regulation. Children need to be able to appreciate limits and understand that stop is stop, go is go. They should be able to understand that other children also have rights over them. If you're unable to let your children learn comportment, they would not be able to learn anything. And finally, you also want children to be able to play. And by playing, there are 10 types of play, but basically, the kind of play that is going to enhance their critical thinking. Play like conversation, like puzzles, like things that will even help them to explore their environment. And with this, you are going to be able to build a child that is going to at least develop holistically. I want to leave you with something that you should think about. Across the world, perhaps other countries that we think that their children are playing till the age of 4. We feel in England, in the US, those children just go and play. Remember, they are the ones that are inventors. And we, as a nation that we stress our children, ask them to write their name, learn 1 to 1,000, we are the consumers. So it's not about how you stress them in early childhood. It's about the kind of environment you create for them to be able to learn intrinsically, or environment should actually initiate their learning, not actually stressing them, which we call intellectual stress. I hope you have been able to understand factor that is responsible for how a child is going to go to school early and what you as teacher, parent, and leaders should concentrate on at the early stage of life. Thank you.